We appreciate all of you and your involvement here with AFA in Kentucky and with Dr. Simon and all that he's doing to make his vision to change things be impactful. And thank you for doing that. I wanted to tell you, though, this film that you're going to watch tonight, it's Agenda 2, a sequel to the Agenda Grinding America Down. You are the first people, no one has ever seen it before. You were the very first time. We just finished it two days ago. And so it's new. We don't have copies of it yet. You can order it tonight. We have order forms, and we'll send it to you as soon as they come in. But you are the very first people. And I was so thankful that it was Dr. Simon's crowd that was going to have the fun of being the very first people. Not one single person in America has seen this film. So I hope you enjoy it. We did it with the same heart that we had an agenda. We wanted to inform people about the purposefulness of what is happening in our country. So they engage the battle at a level where you're fighting an enemy, not just a naive group of people that just don't know what's going on. And so it's that's the intent of that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Afterward, we can do question and answers, and I'd love to hear what you thought about it.
You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance.
And this is the point I think Americans need to comprehend. If America goes down economically, it will go down militarily. If America goes down militarily, we all go down. The free world is finished, and it will be finished for a very, very long time.
Everything, practically, is in a self-destructive mode.
We're in the most critical period we've been since the Revolutionary War.
You're not alert, you're not awake with what's happening.
They would just as soon see this country on its knees and everything equalized.
That concept of collectivism, big government, is a magnet for the predator class.
The plans for all of this are to have everything globally in place by 2020.
If we're that dumb and we allow this to happen,
We deserve everything we're going to get, because we're going to get it right in the neck.
We're headed into what could be a nightmare that would make all the atrocities of the 20th century look like they were a dress rehearsal.
When people are afraid, they ask government to do more, not less.
Their theories are designed to scare the people to believe there's a crisis when there is not a crisis at all. There's no crisis.
I think we're losing more and more freedom because we are afraid.
The left wants you to believe that catastrophe is always just around the corner. And the only way to avoid it is to do exactly what they say. But this film will show everything they do is just a Trojan horse of deceit.
So many things going on in our country and our culture. We tried the best we could to cover some fundamental issues that are before us, that will remain before us, and basically understanding that all the issues are simply tactics and tools to destroy. They're not well-meaning. They're not trying to help the children or help this or help that. And they never are. That's the thing that's hard for us to understand, because we're not like that. We're trying to do things sincerely or whatever. So it's hard to be engaged in a battle. Why don't we, if we have a few minutes, just to, if there's any questions or anything, I always like to address things that you're interested in.
He does not believe, as a pastor, that's something he should do. And like I said, I think it goes back a lot to his youth.
Well, yes. I mean, since Lyndon Johnson, the churches in America have been led to believe that they have no place in politics. They're not welcome in the public square on any issue, which, of course, is a very convenient lie to neutralize your enemy and keep them inside the four walls of the church. And that's why Lyndon Johnson did it. The church was coming out against him, so he immediately passed the 501c3 bill to get them to jump on that. And then say, oh, no, you can't talk about those things, because he wanted to stop them. They were coming after him. They saw that the welfare programs he was pushing weren't to help the black community. It was to destroy and enslave the black community and get them to be Democrats forever. When up to that point, they had always been Republicans. Martin Luther King Jr. was a lifelong Republican. A lot of people don't understand that. He was a member of the Republican Party. He was involved in the Republican Party. So the black community for 100 years since Abraham Lincoln had always been involved in the Republican Party. And Lyndon Johnson figured out a way to flip that around. And now it's changed dramatically the other way. But that's why he did that. So you need to kindly talk to your pastor about a couple things. One is the entire First American Revolution was preached from the pulpits in America. The pastors led the entire thing. They had a long rifle in one hand and a Bible in the other. That's our history. So, and he has to understand this is the most important thing on whatever one of these issues we're talking about. Jesus Christ is either Lord of everything or he's not Lord at all. If he's not Lord over the political system, over the entertainment system, over the media, over the schools, over everything in our culture, whether people like it or not, he is Lord. He's Lord of every country in this world. We have to understand that. So it doesn't matter if it's a Muslim country. No, he is Lord of Iran, of Iraq, and everything else. They are dishonoring him by not following him, but he is Lord of everything. He's the King of Kings. So to naively think you're in control of anything is foolishness. But to naively think as a Christian, it's not our duty to stand for him in every single arena is wrong. It's wrong, because then we're saying he's not Lord of politics. Or he's not Lord of...
I've looked at the Common Core. I was just coming in the last time I taught. In my area, which is English composition, it's an extremely rigorous and demanding curriculum. It took a lot of what we were doing in first-year composition in college and put it down in high school, and put high school down in middle school down in elementary school. It was not ideological. It was just very demanding, areas of style and the English sentence, and the areas of arrangement, and the areas of idea generation, different ways of generating ideas. So I think that, I don't know, I can't speak to any of the other disciplines in the Common Core, but I think it'd be important to look at every one of those and see, rather than condemn all of it.
Absolutely, but I did get 50 professors in here and stuff too, and different teachers that would say their experience with it in reality is not that. The pornographic materials, I know, just in Idaho, in our high schools through the Common Core have been unbelievable. The parents have risen. That's what caused them to rise up. The things they're being required to read that are just vile. But my thing is, I could care less about Common Core personally. I think the entire government school system is wrong. It needs to be abolished. These local communities, they decide what they want to do. Any government like Hitler and Stalin, what did Hitler do when he took over Germany? He didn't do anything radical except said, I wanted to be involved in writing the curriculum for the schools, which then 10 years later became his Hitler Youth. He knew if he had them, he would be able to take over the country and do what he wanted. So it's a government is always going to be motivated to teach a curriculum that makes them look good. They're not going to teach one that how evil big government is, how wrong it is. They're never going to push that. So you're always going to continue to indoctrinate with the ideas of big government. So that's why I'm completely against it. I think if you're a Christian, you cannot do that with your children, because the Bible says in Deuteronomy 6, you're supposed to teach them in the morning, when you get up, when you walk along the way, when you go to bed at night. It's a continual process. So if they're gone all day, even to a Christian school, you can't be discipling them like you're supposed to. You can't do that. So I think as Christians, we have a higher standard. If you're just a conservative person, then I would want to make sure that everything they're being taught is consistent with what you believe. And that, of course, is not happening in the government schools. And I think you would agree with that. From the sex ed to the on and on is not what a lot of conservatives would go, yes, I agree 100% with what is being taught.
It's just, if people have to, in literature, I can't speak to that, but if people had to move, if we have transient society where people have to move all the time, if they all been educated in different ways. It's always hard for them to go somewhere else and try to fit in with the school or it's all different standards.
Well, I know that's all fine, but that's the way it should be done because it should even at the state level is ridiculous. It should be each county, each even city in the county decides what they're going to do, and it's very easy to do. We homeschool our kids, so I found out. You think, how do you get curriculums? How do you get? There's thousands on the internet. It's a very simple thing to do, and whether you're teaching your own children or if you were having a small school in your little community, it's a very simple thing nowadays. It might not have been as easy 50 years ago, but now with the internet, where you can take all MIT courses we can take online for free, entire engineering can be for free. You can go through all their courses and just listen to them and learn or whatever. There's endless resources that now the government, the old school system. Just the age-segregated peer grouping is so wrong. When they got rid of the one-room schoolhouse, any potential the school had for anything good disappeared. You can never peer group, age-segregate ignorant people in their own group that only are being influenced by those of their same age. You never learn to relate to older or younger. You never learn to learn from other people. And so it makes you such a social misfit the rest of your life. You're hamstrung to not be able to go far. And that's what's happening. The kids, I was in the restaurant business for years and had hundreds of employees. And to get one that's even a college graduate to be able to check off a list at the end of the night of here's our closing duties was almost impossible. It was, and at the high school level, they were just so incapable of looking a customer in the face, talking to them, doing anything that it was, I realized, boy, that educational system, just the way it's set up, even if they were learning good things, which they didn't seem to be when I questioned them. But even if they were, that peer grouping, age segregation is really, really destructive. Yes?
What is the probability that the killings of policemen all over the United States is staged to make it appear that the people...
Up it up to your mouth.
The people, that it appears... What is the probability that the killings of policemen all over the United States is something staged by the Obama administration to make it look like the people are having a communist revolution against the police, especially by the black race?
Thank you. I don't know all that. I do know, if you study what he said when he was first elected and before he was elected, and in general, they definitely would love to have a national police force. So it's not local people you know, it is people you have no relationship with. So that has been a main goal all along, to eliminate local sheriffs, local police, because they know those people, if they're ever commanded to do something against us, will not, because they know us. We have coffee with them down at the coffee shop. We have breakfast with them. And so a key goal, so whether it's orchestrated or they're just taking advantage of that, we know, like the Ferguson riots, I don't know if many of you studied that, those, I don't know if you saw when it came out, George Soros, who's a big player in the left, he was exposed, he admitted it, he had paid those people to riot in Ferguson $19 million. From one of his foundations, and it came out, he admitted it, but he said it's not wrong when it's for a good cause, to stop the injustice. But he paid, so that was not a real thing. $19 million to keep paying them to stay there and to riot and to have food to eat so they could stay there and keep doing all that. That was all staged. That was no real outrage. A few locals probably got stirred up in it, because anytime you get a crowd out of control, it's very easy for people to do things they would never do by themselves, but in a crowd they will. And so that happens. But that was, I mean, when that came out, I go, doesn't fool me one bit. That makes sense. You've got someone orchestrating this to feed it up, feed the frenzy. And then, yes, others, people that are misguided, will jump in because they think it's a real revolution or a real cause they want to get behind. So, but as far as what you said, I don't know who's doing what at what level, but will they use those shootings of police officers and things? Absolutely, because they have to get rid of the local police. The local sheriffs in America are our final line of defense. Do you know that? They have total control of your county. The FBI can't come in, the CIA can't come in, the military cannot come in without their permission. And they want to get rid of that. They do not like that at all. Yes?
Let me address that question about the police. Yeah, the police. Paul Harvey was a conservative news commentator, and he was based in New York City, and he decided to move to Chicago, Illinois, because that's more the center of the country, and the media is so liberal and so self-circling. So he moved to Chicago. So for 60 years, Paul Harvey had a 15-minute news and commentary on 6,000 stations. He passed away several years ago. One thing that Paul Harvey said was, violence is contagious, and us newsboys are the carriers. Now, let me repeat that. Violence is contagious, and those of us who are in the news media are the carriers. Now, I am a Christian. I have made a commitment to turn my television off. I have unplugged it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a secular man named Bruce Springsteen. He's got a lot of good songs, got a lot of bad songs, but one of the songs he wrote, just go to YouTube, type YouTube Music, 57 channels. And here's the song. I'm in Los Angeles with the bourgeois. I've got a large screen TV and a satellite. There's 57 channels, and there's nothing on. So he shoots his television and gets arrested. Judge said, son, what's your defense? He looks up and he says, Your Honor, there's 57 channels, but there's nothing on. Go to YouTube. You can hear that song as soon as you get home. Now, I listened to CNN for about 5 minutes this year. I turned them on, and some female news anchor that I've never heard of, don't know her name, never see her again, she said, quote, we have a problem here in America with white policemen shooting unarmed black children. We've got a problem here in America. And went on and had an hour on that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, think about that. 40 to 60 to 80 blacks kill each other every week in Chicago. Why didn't she talk about that? See, she lied. And so the blacks go home, they listen to CNN, they hear how white officers are killing blacks, and they're killing police officers as a result of that. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got news for you. CNN is responsible for the murder of those policemen because the liberals sit at home, listen to CNN, hear how white officers are shooting black men, and they're killing our police officers as a response. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to turn CNN off.
Any other questions? Or yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I don't really want to be filmed, but I want to ask you. I saw this movie and I believe all of it and everything. But don't you think, because we're hearing so much and reading so much about the soon return of Christ, so, and I'm talking about very soon. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to coming back, and I can't wait for that. I wish.
Because I noticed at the end of the film you said generations to come. Well, from everything I read in the Bible and I hear people that I trust, or on TV and everything, yeah. Christian television and some of the churches they're preaching it, not too many, by the way, but some, that Jesus is coming very soon, and mainly the sons of Israel and the whole world situation.
Yeah. So here's
so what do you think of that?
Yeah, yes. Well, here's my thing. If that belief causes you not to think multi-generationally and to think of a plan and being committed, I'd say get rid of it. Pretend he's not coming back for 10,000 years and live for him. And so you're committed to raising the next generation. We're faithful for however much time he gave us here on earth. If he comes back tomorrow, then we're just accountable up till tomorrow. But if he doesn't come back for another 10 years or 50 years, and we were waiting for him and wasted 10 or 50 years, that's wrong. And then we were not going to be a good steward. When we stand before him, we're going to be sorry when we see our life go up in the furnace and there's nothing left because we were waiting for you to come. He didn't say, he goes, look forward to my appearing, but be about the business. And so occupy and be making disciples of all nations. Do you understand what that means? It means you share the gospel, but then you disciple, he said, and teach them all these things whatsoever I commanded you. And lo, I'm with you even to the end of the age. What's all the things he's commanded us? Genesis to Revelations. Are we discipling people like that? We're teaching them from Genesis to Revelations. Our children, every book, every verse, every chapter. The people that get saved in our churches, are we then going through a 5-year course? Every verse, every book, every chapter, and teaching them so they understand what God has told us to do. So I don't like that view from the one hand because I see it's paralyzing the troops. They're like, well, it's today. I'm just going to sit here and watch Oprah and he'll be back soon. Or we need to forget that mentality. Another reason I think that might not be right. And again, if it is, I can't wait to see Jesus. I'm not in any way, I'm not looking forward to that. But he, as you study, think about him in the Bible, as you do read and study the Bible. Think about like Nineveh, okay? A vile, if you study Nineveh, even in world history with resources outside of the Bible, it was a vile culture in every way, shape, or form. And he sent Jonah there and said if they repent, and they did repent. They fasted for 40 days and repented, and he gave them another, I think it's about 120, 150 years before he wiped them out. How long were the children of Israel slaves in Egypt? Do you know how long? 400 years. That means they were praying faithfully and diligently for 400 years. God, please, save us from these people. 400 years till he answered that prayer. That's from the Pilgrims, 1620 to today. It's like they finally, with us, we'd be the first free generation since the Pilgrims. He is so long-suffering, I think it could be a while till he comes back because he is so kind, he wants us to be planting seeds. He wants us to be sharing the gospel. Again, I don't know, but I'm living like that. I'm living like where if he does come back today, I'll be glad because I was doing what you want me to do. But if you don't come back for 500 years, I will have trained my children to train their children, to train their children, to train their children. And so that's why, our family, we have a 200-year plan for our family. We're planning out. In case he doesn't come back, I want to be faithful. I want to be one of those rare families with God's mercy and grace where 300 years from now, every single grandchild that's come from this thing all follows and loves Jesus Christ. That's all they're about. Their entire existence is following the King of Kings and proclaiming that truth, whatever the cost. And that doesn't happen if I'm waiting for Jesus to come back tomorrow. It just doesn't. And so it's a double-edged sword. Do you understand that? I hope you know my heart in that.
I do understand what you're saying. But there is a specific time that Jesus says that he will return, like when he came as a baby. Absolutely. It was prophesied. Absolutely. So I heard Franklin Graham say recently that he's so upset with churches because they are program after program after program, but no one is talking about too much in the pulpit of his return. There's some, but then I hear it from, so I do think there is a definite time that, I don't mean we should sit down and do nothing. I wasn't implying that at all.
I know you were.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if you saw.
Yeah, I think the program, there's a problem there where we're all inside the church walls with program after program. We need to be going outside the church walls with the truth and being a light individually. So when we share Jesus with them, it makes him look good. Because they go, I don't agree with that person, but they were a nice, kind person. That Jesus must be something. We are supposed to not just be sharing the gospel, but live a life that when they see us and we share the gospel, they go, there's something, that they are different. Why are they different? I've had many people come to my family. Why is your family different? I go, it's because of Jesus Christ. We're just trying to do things his way. We're still not perfect. If you came over, you would see that. But we're working on being different because we want him to look good. I want, when I hand a tract to somebody, them to see the consistency of my children, my wife and I, everything where they go, okay, I don't know if I agree with this or not,
but I at least respect you for giving it to me because you have something. You're not just, your life's not falling apart like everybody else's. He has done something for you. And so that's what we need to be focused on, I think. Looking forward to him come back, of course. But think about this. Say he was coming back a week from today. Okay, say we knew he was coming back a week from today. What would you do? What would you do this next week? I mean, if you really knew he coming back a week from today, would we just be, oh, it's one? I hope we would be going, every person we've ever met that we hadn't shared the gospel with, tracking them down. I'm sorry I didn't tell you this when I worked with you, but can we go to lunch? I got to tell you about something. And going to every relative and every person. Well, if we think he's coming back soon, why aren't we doing that? If we really believe he's coming back soon as a belief, not just a hope, so that's the thing I see that bothers me because there's so much inconsistency. I see so many churches not doing much. Because no, we need to. I know, we need. So anyway, yes.
Some of the things I applaud you on is the fact that you said to know your enemy. You put the fixed pie in one spot. This is one of the most astounding things that you put on that film that I have never heard anybody say. That the Muslims don't even know that they're working for the communists. There are people that are thinking that they're fighting for the Taliban and they're actually fighting for the communists. The other thing that you are fighting in this film is this idea of the Christian, you can't. You are saying to this group of people, and we're going to go out and tell people, you can. That is one of the biggest things. I applaud you and every one of those children who are sitting back there looking at you, or your little preachers back there from Iowa, all 9 of you, and your beautiful wife. You're saying you can, and you've inspired every one of us. Every one of us see that you can mentality. And then the last thing I want to put into this, and you put it all in one place. See, that's what this movie is doing. We don't have to go looking, okay, well, I found out this, and then next month we found out this much. You put it all in one place. And I personally think that you are going to receive a very, very wonderful reward from the Lord. If you want to make a comment on any of those, there's plenty of fodder with all those little comments, but I applaud you for putting that all in one place.
Thank you, I appreciate that. We did it because, like all of you, we all have a different role. And I hope you pray every day, God, what would you have me to do? It might be something simple. It might go, I want you to share the gospel with that person you've been working with for 10 years. Or it might be, make something nice for the next door neighbor. You hardly ever go talk to them. Just do something kind for them. Because they know you go to church. They see you go to church. They know you're a Christian. But make me look good by being someone where they go, this is what I like to tell people. If someone came in your neighborhood and knocked on someone's random door and said, is there any Christians that live in this neighborhood? Would they say, yes, that house right there. They're the kindest, nicest, sweetest people I've ever met.